Hello and welcome to this channel. It's been a while since I've done a video. Life has changed and a lot of things have changed actually, and more things are going to be changing. So yeah, it's just a way of saying that I have been able to change my life in a way and get back to what I enjoy doing and what I love doing and what I love doing with this channel. So what I want to do today is I want to not only mark, if you like, this is not really a comeback video, but I would like to think that from now on I'm going to be producing more content and hopefully some more helpful videos for people to watch. Over the last few years, which is everyone knows, things have been a bit crazy worldwide, and a lot of things changed. A lot of things changed for me in my life, in a good way. Not so much in a bad way. At the time it seemed like a bad way that things were happening, but now I realize that all these things have got a purpose, and things that I wanted to do, or what I thought I wanted to do, have not turned out the way I expected them to. And I'll explain a little bit as we go on in this video, and I'll explain what this video is about. You may or may not have heard of things like the law, terms like the law of attraction, the law of nature, the secret, the master key. All of these things kind of relate to the same thing. They all relate to how we manifest things. And I really, when I first started hearing about all this manifestation, let's say within the last 10 years, it seemed to be done. It seemed to be a word that was coined by people that, in my opinion, were just out to make a load of money, because behind the scenes, all they wanted to do was, talk about what this manifestation was, and on the back of it they wanted you to buy their course for £1,500 or £800 or something. And I just thought, what, I had associated this word manifestation with money making at the end of the day, and in my opinion it was turned into that, if you like. The term manifestation and being able to manifest things in a way has been oversimplified, very misunderstood, and manipulated to people wanting to make money out of it. That's not my intention at all. What I want to do, so recently, why has this come up? So fairly recently, and I've had my eye on this particular book for quite a long time, and it's called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Now, I have done an awful lot of research about the law of attraction and the master key and all of these other terminologies, and it didn't seem to click with me, as I'm sure it does with an awful lot of people, or doesn't with an awful lot of people, in as much as, it doesn't actually really mean an awful lot when somebody says, oh, well, you can just manifest that into your life. What was missing was the bit that sort of explained how you did that. Okay, now, what I like about this book is the fact that Rhonda Byrne has collated an awful lot of history and a lot of information about the law of nature, or the law of attraction, or the law of a manifestation, and combined it and condensed it down into this book in a language that is actually really simple to understand. Now, I have got numerous books. I've got a library of books here, and they allude to this law of attraction or a law of manifestation, and again, it's kind of mentioned in a couple of paragraphs and then brushed over, you know, as if everyone is supposed to know what that is. Like everyone is supposed to know from a simple sentence what the law of attraction or a law of manifestation is. And there was no real practical explanation about how it works, why it works, when it works, you know, and all of those other things. And so it just, it kind of frustrated me a little bit. And so I also just brushed it aside and thought, well, if this law of manifestation or law of attraction is so wonderful and people can, you know, get whatever they want out of life, why isn't 8 billion people in the world doing it, right? And I think it comes down to the fact that this kind of information has been suppressed. We know it's been suppressed. We know it's been brushed under the carpet. We know that there are people out there that are misleading and misguiding and giving out misinformation to throw people off actually trying to understand what this whole truth is about or secret is about. So, because it's explained actually, there's a video of this as well, and I've watched the video and I'm now reading this book again because it's just mind-blowing, and it also explains what has and hasn't happened in my own life, in my own career, you know, to do with money, to do with work, to do with love, to do with finances, you know, to do with investments and all of those other things, to do with jobs. And it kind of hits it then began to hit home because it was clearly explained how this works, what you need to do in order to get this secret to work. Okay. Saying that, it really began to, I really then began to realize that actually, you know, I'm a psychologist, okay, and a hypnotherapist, and I am also a master practitioner of Reiki, and so many things have now begun to click into place. It's like my lifetime has been piecing together bits of a jigsaw puzzle. I've got this massive jigsaw puzzle, okay, and there's parts of it that are complete, and then there's other massive areas that were not complete, and there were separate bits and bits that were obviously I was able to join together and think, oh, okay, so that bit goes there, and that bit goes there, and that bit goes there, and then, oh, okay, those two bits now, but you know, they now fit together. But then there was still some huge spaces that happened in my life. Some wonderful things have happened in my life, and some really, really bad stuff has happened in my life that I can now explain. I can now understand why those things happened, how they came about, and what it was I was thinking at the time that triggered these things to happen. So it's very, very interesting. I think it's interesting, and my one of my tasks, okay, one of my motivations is going to be to try and educate people on how simple this process is and what it is we need to do to enable it, to receive it, and to work with it. Okay, so, you know, there's kind of 3 things which I'm going to go through. So there is kind of a structure to this where I'm going to go, and I think I might give some metaphoric examples of things that have happened in my life, and possibly some other examples of things that I know that have happened in other people's lives, to try and bring the story across. Now, you can go out and read this book, absolutely brilliant, you know. You can go and watch the video, you know, the DVD that came out quite a number of years ago now, you know, and understand it how you want to. But I find listening to somebody who can explain it goes an awful lot, you know, a long way to understanding how these things work. because you can listen to something in the background, or you can watch this video, whatever suits you really. And not everyone is going to really like me, my voice, or watching videos, and so therefore in a way they're kind of missing out. And so my goal is to try and find other ways to try and educate people about what all this is about. And there's just thousands of other people doing the same thing. I'm not unique in this, but this is my two penneth worth, as we say, in England. And I'm hoping that somebody will watch this video, read the book, understand what the process is. I've tried to really condense down what the law of attraction is, or the law of manifestation. So the great secret of life itself is about the law of attraction. Okay, if you just take a moment to try and think about that, it's all about the law of attraction. It's about what we want, and it's a law of nature. Everybody on the planet has got access to the law of attraction. There isn't discrimination. There is no right or wrong about a person. And it's basically as impartial as the law of gravity, which is what is mentioned. So I am making references to this book, but putting my own spin on it. That I understood actually when I was quite young. The difficulty you have, of course, as you go through life is that things kind of get in the way. We allow distractions to happen. We allow ourselves to be manipulated by governments, by people, by social standards, by people that we marry, relationships, work colleagues, friends, relatives, all that kind of thing. And so we tend to lose sight of that law sometimes, or we put ourselves into a state whereby we're not receptive, and I'll explain how this works going on, but we're kind of in a negative state rather than a positive state. Basically we attract what we are. Okay, thoughts are things at the end of the day, and if our thoughts are not what we want in life, we tend to think of the opposite, and hey presto, that's what we get, because the law of attraction is impartial. It doesn't determine what's best for you, because it's relying on you to ask the right thing about what's best for you, if that makes any sense. So when we're not in a good place, we tend to moan about a lack of money, or a lack of a car, or a lack of a house, or a lack of a good job, or whatever it is. The law of attraction just delivers that, because it doesn't know that that's a bad thing. It's relying on you as a human to ask for the thing that you want that's going to make you happy. And so if we're focusing on not having any money on our bank account, or we're focusing on bills all the time, or we're expecting bills to come tomorrow, that's exactly what we're going to get. We're going to focus on that thing. We're going to focus on it. So the law of attraction also says like attracts like. So when you think a thought, you are also attracting like thoughts to yourself, to you as a person. And that's basically how it works. Okay, so going back to that kind of polarity of negative and positive, like a magnet, okay, we're very much a magnet. As humans, we attract things. And if we tend to put ourselves into a negative state, we are going to attract all the negative things that we're moaning and groaning about and thinking about, dreaming about, worrying about all the time. And they're just going to keep coming, because the law of attraction says that you want those things. It's delivering what you're asking for, right? This is quite key to this whole system of understanding how the law of attraction or manifestation works. So, flipping that on its head, what we need to do as psychologists is to encourage people and enable the people to think differently. We're doing it all the time. You know, somebody wants to give up a bad habit. They perceive it to be a bad habit. They're eating too much, and so they're putting on too much weight. They're smoking too much. They're taking drugs. They're drinking. You know, whatever it is, they're addicted to whatever it is. Let's say they are aware that that is a negative thing, and people come to a psychologist to try and turn that around, and that's what we need to do. So we ask questions, we open up pathways to, you know, the client, so that they can actually start changing the polarity and making changes in their life about what it is they do want in their life, rather than focusing on what they don't want. And that's got to be in the here and now. You know, that's got to be in the present state, not in the future. We'll talk about the future in a minute, and it certainly isn't in the past. So that's basically, you know, the first understanding really is that each individual has the opportunity. Doesn't matter your social status, your financial status, whatever other status everyone likes to put themselves in, it doesn't really matter. It all comes down to how we think, and, you know, what we want out of life. Okay, nothing comes into our life without us having summoned it, or wished for it, or asked for it. Okay, even if it is negative. That's the key thing as well to understand, is that we are constantly as humans asking for things, whether it's good for us or whether it's not good for us, because we are what we think. Things that we think tend to be physical, they manifest, and it's very, very important to understand that whatever it is we focus on, we get back. Okay, so if we're focusing on the wrong thing, or the negative thing, or the thing that doesn't really serve us very well, hey presto, guess what's going to happen? More of that is going to keep coming through, you know. So what we need to do as humans, and you don't need a psychologist to do this or a psychiatrist to do this, you need to really just sit down and think to yourself, well, how can I change my thoughts? If my thoughts are things and they manifest, right? And I keep thinking about bills and not having enough money and not having enough job, and such a person is causing me lots of, you know, irritation and really, really annoying me, and things keep happening, you know, when I go shopping and whatever, you know, whatever those things are, we have to figure out as humans how we can very quickly switch that thought around to a positive, right? That's the key. That is the key. That is the secret. It's how we can, I mean, there are all sorts of terms that people use: brainwash, you know, manipulation, all of those things, self-manipulation, self-meditation, whatever it is that you need to do to try and turn. So if you notice that something keeps happening time and time and time again, you know, all those bills keep coming in, and they're driving you up the wall, and then they have a knock-on effect, because then you're telling yourself you don't have any money to pay these bills, or you can't, you know, you haven't got enough money to do whatever it is you want to do. You know, the task is we've now got to try and turn that around, and that is the key bit, turning it into a positive. So I'm going to read this bit because it's quite key. Okay, so all of this is from the book, The Secret. Thoughts are magnetic, and thoughts have a frequency. As you think thoughts, they are sent out into the universe, and they magnetically attract all the like things that are on that same frequency. Everything sent out returns to the source, which is you. Think about that. Now, there is an example given where we now know through science, that absolutely everything in this planet and in the universe is made of energy, and everything has a frequency, right? Just think about that. Hear it. Everything is alive, basically. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is, it's alive, it has energy, and it has a frequency. And the same as us. We are probably, one of the biggest transmitters, if you like, or the magnets that are, that exist, okay? And so when we're thinking things, we are sending those out on a frequency. We know that there are frequencies. There's just so much scientific evidence that all of this is out there, and it's true. So it goes to sort of prove that hand in hand, what we think about is being transmitted, sent out into the universe, and the law basically says that you will get that back. Okay? And because it's impartial, it doesn't really matter whether it's negative or positive. Of course, everybody wants positive, but generally speaking, the most of the time, people are actually thinking about what they haven't got rather than what they would like. Okay? So, to know what you are thinking, ask yourself, how are you feeling? Emotions are valuable tools that instantly tell us what we are thinking. Very, very key point. That's how we measure ourselves. So of course, if you think of a time when you have felt really ecstatic, you were really in the moment, you felt really happy, doesn't matter what it was, whether it was eating your breakfast, having an absolutely amazing cup of coffee with a biscuit, or you were sharing a moment with a loved one, or you were just driving down the road on a nice sunny day, or a rainy day even, it doesn't matter, whatever it was, you can think of a time that you felt, wow, you could stay in that moment forever. Okay, that is the feeling of how that is. We can recall that. We can also recall all the negative stuff. We don't want to do that. Okay, those are still feelings, and they are messages from within us that are telling us how we're feeling. But when something goes right, it feels amazing. It doesn't matter what it is. You finish reading a book, you finish an assignment, you complete a task, you finish an exam, you travel safely, from 500 miles, in a car, and you get safely from one place to another, and you have that feeling of elation, of accomplishment, of feeling really good and safe. That's what's important, and it's that kind of feeling that gives you that feedback, that they are positive signs. They are positive. It's that positive feedback loop that you're looking for. So you could actually just do that right now. I'm kind of rather hoping that you're watching this video thinking, yeah, I feel really good at the moment. But you may not be in that right place, maybe, but stop the video, just check in, ask the question of yourself, how am I feeling? You will get the answer back. And if you know that you're not feeling how you want to feel, if you're feeling here or here, but you want to be up here, then you have the power to actually make that happen, because you know what it's like to feel up here. So whatever the situation is, or whatever level you are at, you can push yourself, you can turn that around, change your thought process into something positive, and to give you that elated feeling, that good feeling inside. So the next bit I've kind of already covered, because we're like a transmission tower, basically. We are an energy in ourselves, and we're quite an energetic force. and we're like a massive transmission power that is constantly sending out messages all the time. You know, they're going out into the universe. Basically, they're going around. They're affecting the things that are around us, including other people and such like. And so, transmitting a frequency with our thoughts is actually something really good to be aware of, because it makes you aware that you can be thinking something, and if somebody else is on that same level, you know, there then is an energetic transmission receiving channel that's basically been opened, and all of a sudden, you know, if it's a negative one, you're going to get a negative response, and if it's a positive one, you're going to get a positive response. I mean, there's just so many examples of things that have happened where, you know, completely unrelated things come together all of a sudden, you know, and people meet up, and all of a sudden they've clicked with someone. You know, it doesn't have to be a romantic connection, and then they're generating a business together, and they've got these amazing ideas about creating blah 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 blah. And so that's important to remember, that we are always transmitting and we're always receiving as well. So we have to be very careful, in a way, what we transmit. So your thoughts determine your frequency. Your feelings tell you immediately what frequency you are in. We've just talked about that. When you feel bad, you are on a frequency of drawing more bad things. And when you're on a positive, or when you feel good, you're on a powerfully attracting more good things to you. And there are different states that you can be in that you know, amplify, if you like, that transmission. Which, of course, then if you're transmitting that transmission and you've got that energy level there, then, you know, you're going to get that positive feedback back. And there was a saying that you basically get it back threefold. I mean, you know, some people say you get it back 3 times, other people say you get it back 10 times. I mean, you just get it back, and very often there's more than what you were transmitting at the end of the day. So that's what's the important thing to remember is that you transmit at one level and you get actually more back. You get more feedback. So your current thoughts are creating your future life. Okay, that's also quite key. These statements are worth just meditating on. What you think about the most or focus on the most will appear as your life. Your life, not just this instant, but your life. So pretty much everything that you are creating and wishing for now, whether it's positive or negative, is becoming part of your life. Okay, the more you think about it, the more you get back. And if it's negative, you're going to get more of it back. And that has an impact on you moving forward and developing and maturing and such like going forward. I don't know quite how important that is for people to actually understand. That moving forward, the first step moving forward is to change your thought process, to change the way you think about things. Be grateful for what you've got. It doesn't matter if you've got nothing, if all you've got is an umbrella and some belongings because, you know, life has treated you badly and you've ended up on the street. It doesn't really matter whether you're living in a 20-bedroom mansion that's worth £5 million. Your thoughts are creating your future. You are on the receiving end of your thoughts, your thought processes, your dreams, what you think about, what you focus on. That is having an effect on your life. And that's why right at the very, very beginning, you know, the law of attraction is the law of nature, and it's impartial. It's like gravity. Everyone has to work with gravity. If you want to work against gravity, it's not gonna end well. But if you work with gravity, and there are, again, so many examples of how we work with gravity, i.e. flying, i.e. running, i.e. Designing vehicles to run efficiently, because they're working with the gravitational force on this planet, sending rockets up into space and such like, is all working with gravity. They're able to accomplish so many positive things by working with that law. Exactly the same applies to the law of attraction or the law of manifestation. And so it's the choice that we make. We can either work against it, or we can work for it, or work with it. And that's basically what they're saying. So feelings come into how you as a feedback mechanism. Feelings, how you are feeling at any particular time. When you feel good, how you have associated that, and you probably know how you got there, how you created that good feeling. Okay, that's a positive feeling. When you're feeling bad and things are not going your way, and it feels like the world is against you, and you're climbing a mountain that's about 80 degrees and all of those kind of things, where that's come from. We've created that situation. So work on what makes you feel good. Instant feedback mechanism. How do we change? Okay, your current thoughts are creating your future life. Okay. If we get that feedback and we think, okay, I'm worrying about a bill. You're expecting a bill to come in, it appears like you're getting an awful lot of bills, or you're reluctant to go to work because of the way you're being treated, or your boss is not a particularly nice person and you don't really want to go to work, and it's getting you down, it's making you feel possibly depressed, but you're reluctant then to start going to work. There may be elements of the work that you really, really like, but there's this one person that always upsets your day and makes you feel bad. Okay, how can you turn that around? Right, so there are things called there's secret shifters. Okay, they are things that can actually help you to trigger turning that negative thought into a positive thought. Because if we keep focusing on the negative thought, whatever it is we're afraid of, or whatever it is we don't like, and whatever it is that's not making us feel happy, is gonna keep coming through, because the law says that's what you're looking for, that's what you're asking for. We need to change that around. Listen to some music, look at some photographs, have a walk outside, have a chat with your a favorite person, go for a coffee, drink, do something else that changes the state. Again, we do this an awful lot in psychological therapy, and hypnosis and such like. It is all about turning what is perceived to be a bad situation, or something that's not serving you very well, and turning it around and turning it into a positive. Okay, so the highest frequency that you can attain, or that you can work with, is love. Okay, there are many different aspects to the word love and to the whole process of love. I'm not going to go into them, but do something that you love doing. If you enjoy going out and for a walk in nature, and that can change your perception of whatever it is that you feel is negative into a positive and make you feel good, then do it. If reading a book quietly for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever, or having a hot drink or a cold drink, or just enjoying something, some food or whatever, that can change that state, that is a good thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't see that as being it matters to you. It matters to you, and it makes you change your state. That's what's important. And you will be aware of how often you need to do that kind of thing. And then on top of that, then we need to try and remind ourselves to think more positively about, even what's perceived to be a bad situation has nearly always got a flip side. Okay, so again, it's about training. It's about rewiring, reprogramming your brain and your thinking process so that you can change that and think about something positive. Again, quite key. So, to round this up, okay, in summary, your thoughts become things is quite a profound statement. Okay, we've mentioned it several times, but your thoughts, what you think about, is what is coming back to you. Okay, we've mentioned that as well. It's very, very key that you understand what it is that you need to do in order to get what you want. Okay, and this is the bit that I found difficult to swallow and difficult to deal with, and the bit that I think was just surrounded an awful lot, and still is, by this whole law of attraction, law of manifestation, whereby you're never really very sure about what it is you had to do. So in simplistic terms, okay, like Aladdin's genie, the law of attraction grants your every command. The creative process helps you create what you want in 3 simple steps: asking, believing, and receiving. That's the way it works. Right? So everything that we've talked about previously in this video, if we now summarize this as this is the next step forward. Asking, you have to be very, very specific about what it is you want to ask for. There's no point in saying, for instance, and I'll give an example, there's no point in just saying, I want a job, right? But I want a job because I want money. I mean, okay, so if that is all you ask for, okay, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a job. Are you going to be happy with that job? Any old job, doesn't really matter. That's happened to me in my life before, where I've come, even as a psychologist, I have made those mistakes myself, where I'm focusing so much on what I don't have and what is negative in my life that when I do ask for something, I've just obviously said, I just want a job. I want a job so that I can pay these bills, right? And guess what happens? A job comes along, which is fantastic for a little while, and it pays the bills, okay? But then I end up, after a period of time, just thinking, I'm not really happy doing this job, okay? And then, of course, if you keep thinking about that, you're now stuck in a job to an extent, and you're not particularly happy. Although on the one side you asked for your bills and such, like you needed money, you needed a job to earn money to pay the bills, right? That's exactly what you got. The problem is you weren't specific. I wasn't specific about what I wanted. I wasn't specific about the type of work that I wanted. I wasn't specific about where I wanted to work. I wasn't specific about the amount of money I wanted to earn. I wasn't specific about the kind of job I wanted even. I've had some pretty weird jobs in my time, through whatever circumstances at that particular period of time. And I literally just sat there a few times and thought, why am I doing this? I didn't even really want to do this. I probably thought I did. But I kind of looked at an area and then just said, I want a job. And of course that was delivered, which, as I said, didn't really serve the purpose. Okay, it paid the bills and got my life stable again and such like, but because I wasn't specific about the kind of work that I wanted, about the job, about money that I needed, basically the law that's impartial just delivered it. It delivered a job, and it did its job. It did its work. That's what I asked for. So hopefully what I'm trying to get across here is that if you're going to ask for something, you need to be really specific about everything to do with that. Write it all down, jot it down, put it on your phone, put it on a piece of paper, put it on a computer or something, and down to even the minute details if you want that. But you have to be specific. Believing. This is again something that I myself have experienced. Okay, I asked for things, and unbeknown to me, I was given the opportunities right in front of me. Okay, I had so many opportunities of exactly what I wanted to do in my life, what I wanted to bring into my life that would have made me happy. The problem was, and I realize this now, is that I didn't actually really believe it. So we know that actually almost not believing fully in what you're asking for, you're still going to get it. But I didn't really fully believe. I was probably about here in my belief of what I was asking for. So again, it could have tipped either way, really. And it very often didn't tip in my favor because I didn't believe enough that I was good enough, that it wasn't going to really happen. I was going to ask, but hey, I'll just see what comes along. I mean, that's kind of not really good enough. You don't go through on an online ordering system or through a catalogue and think, oh well, I need a new bike, or I need a new kettle. I just randomly, let's pick that one, and then see whether it turns up or not. It's kind of like that. It really is kind of like that. You'll get it and not be satisfied with it. There's just so many things. It becomes so obvious when you realize how this system really works. I mean, it's not a system, it's a law. It explains so much about opportunities that have been missed because I didn't believe, and I didn't act like I believed I was going to get the job or the money or whatever it was I was actually asking for. And then the next bit is about receiving it. Okay, so it's all very well asking, making that order, if you like, putting everything together that you really want in your life, and then sending it out on the right frequency, on the highest frequency. Okay, and then believing and adding and amplifying that with your belief system, like you are really going to get this. I mean, you don't really go through a catalogue or an online system and order something and then think, oh well, it might turn up and it might not. I mean, you are expecting it to turn up, right? That's the kind of the belief that you have. It's going to happen. I've ordered it today, it's going to happen tomorrow, right? From a catalogue. So you don't really want to go through there, and you have to be prepared. So you're going to get it, right? Either way, you're going to get it. If you've been specific about what you want, you believe that you're going to get it, you know that you're going to get it, you're behaving like you've already got it, then receive it, right? So this is the message. And that's the bit that I was missing. I was kind of not really believing in the past about what I asked for. I was kind of 50-50 either way. I was sort of sitting on the fence a little bit. And then I know that basically, apart from a big slap around the face from various different people about, hey, I'm offering you this, please take it, I was blind to it because I didn't really believe enough. And I wasn't, if you like, prepared. I hadn't said to myself, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It's going to arrive. Hey, I better get ready for it. You know, I better get my life in order. I better sort out X, Y, and Z, you know, whatever. You don't have to worry about the logistics of where it's coming from, you know, because the universe just basically sorts that bit out. If you've been specific enough, it will arrive. You believe it's going to arrive, then get ready to receive it is absolutely key. This is quite profound. This really is just my thoughts, basically. I mean, this has come and been influenced from this book by Rhonda Byrne. It's absolutely a you know, an amazing book, and there is input from dozens of other different types of people who actually understand how this works. And I've also bought the other book, which was written as a course back in 1912, called The Master Key, and it's by Charles Haanel, I think, which is where a lot of the information from The Secret came from. And this is not new wave thinking. This is not Aquarian kind of influences or anything. This information has been around and people have known about it for thousands upon thousands of years. It's not new. It's not new information. So, rounding this up, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, enjoyed the information, inquisitive about finding out more, are curious about how this works. And there are plenty of examples of, you know, how you can kind of get the ball rolling on this thing. You know, there is always going to be a bit of doubt about it. It's a bit woo-woo, you know, it's a bit kind of like off the wall. We're not used to this kind of thing generally as humans. You know, we don't get these opportunities in life. Like, you know, we're always told life is hard, life, you know, we mustn't expect things. We don't get anything for nothing. We have to work 40 hours a week or whatever. You know, you get that limited amount of money every single month, and you know, that's all you can afford. You know, don't expect too much. This blows the lid off of all of that, really. And of course, certain people in the planet don't want everyone to know about it. And you know, I hope that via this video that you've learned something, that you take something away from this that, you know, makes you want to go out, buy the book. I'm not selling the book. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not being endorsed or paid or anything by this book. It's just one of those things, like I've said in a lot of my previous videos, when I like something, I like to do a review of it. I like to share. I like to give my thoughts. And that's all I'm doing, really. I'm not selling anything. You know, you're quite welcome to leave a comment on the video below. Just yeah, all I can say is, if you want to go out, buy the book. Just take that on yourself. Do yourself a favor, okay? Do yourself a favor. I mean, I don't know of anyone on the planet that's got everything they've ever wanted. You know, give yourself that opportunity. And it's about you, not about other people. You can help other people to understand it, and that would be absolutely amazing, because if everybody has everything they ever wanted, then, you know, there are enough resources around for everybody, basically, despite what we're being told. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. And of course, everyone's perceptions are slightly different. You know, what I am happy with and what I'm satisfied with, you know, is not going to be what you're satisfied or happy with. So, you know, not everyone's going to have the same ideas either about happiness. That's something else to actually bear in mind. So anyway, I'm going to round this up. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for coming to this channel. I mean, if you enjoy, like this video, that would be amazing. If you want to join the community that I've got on this channel, then that would be also amazing. I would like to see more people coming to my channel again. I like doing this kind of video as well anyway. Behind the scenes, as I've said many times, a lot of the videos on this channel are actually private anyway, so I don't do an awful lot of public videos, to be honest, but I'm going to start doing them a little bit more often, I think, from now on. I like helping people to understand this kind of thing, to understand how their mind works and how they can change their behavior to their benefit, basically. I mean, that's all we are really as psychologists, as facilitators of helping people to actually understand themselves, because everyone has the answers within themselves to fix themselves, and if that's what's required. But everyone has the ability to heal themselves, to sort out their own life and such like. All we do is help facilitate that, and that's the bit that I get the enjoyment from. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video soon.